Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Take 3. It's not got off to a blinding start this morning. I've just gone to move the camera to centralise myself and spilled a whole cup of tea all over myself. So it's not exactly got off to oh, bollocks. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Take 4. It's not exactly got off to the best start this morning. I've just gone and spilt a whole fuck. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Right, this morning has not exactly got off to the most blinding of starts. Where do I even start? I've actually recorded this whole hour once before, probably about 7 o'clock, and nothing went right. And I mean, everything went wrong. I was forgetting things, I was misreading things, stumbling over words. It was god awful. And I know you would probably say, just cobble it together, it'll be fine, I can't do that now because in a massive hissy fit I just deleted the fucking lot because I thought I can't put that out. It was terrible. So I thought I'll give it one last go. I don't think it's helping that it's not very warm in here. I've got one radiator on. I did sit here in a t-shirt, so more fool me. I put an extra layer on, obviously the Camp Crystal Late Summer 1980 hoodie, and it does feel a little more agreeable, but we'll see how we go. And to cap it all, I went to move the camera and tipped an entire cup of tea all over myself. It wasn't good. It was not good at all. So I'm going to give it one last go, and if it doesn't work, I'm going to have to try either redoing it later in the week or giving it a miss next week, because it's this cold weather. I just don't do the cold the way I used to do. I hate feeling cold all the time. I absolutely loathe it. So one idea I've got is to maybe do 15-minute sections instead of 30 minutes, and then go and warm up for 5 or 10 minutes, and then come back in and try it again. But let's see how we go, how we suffer for our art, eh? So I'll start with comments on the last video. First one is Pugwall316. Now I think Pugwall is a new subscriber, so if you are, mate, welcome to the channel. Hope you like what we're doing here. Feel free to pop over to the Facebook group. There are links in the video bio. Feel free to join us. We're quite a friendly bunch. We just talk movies, old and new. I think you'll get a bit of a kick out of it. You've said, love that you cover these shows and tapes that not many others do. Thanks. You're welcome. I'm not a massive fan of huge blockbusters. I don't mind them, but you give me the choice between watching something like that and a small, independent, low-budget movie, I will always go for the latter. That's just how I am. Cult movies, absolutely love them. So yeah, I don't mind talking about the old, slightly more obscure movies that nobody's ever heard of. And as you'll find out from the guys, I do tend to like those kind of things. So movies like Killer Sofa, absolutely brilliant, absolutely superb. Love the old 50s monster movies, just brilliant. So thanks for the comment, mate. As I say, pop over and join the group. I think you'll enjoy what we're doing in there, and it's good to have you aboard. Next one, Rick's back. Tone. Sorry I've been absent from the channel. I've been busy as hell, but I'm catching up now. Mainly because I feel like death warmed up with the deadly man flu. Tell me about it. We managed to kick it probably a week and a half ago, and we were just getting sort of over it now. Rob's got it again, so it's only a matter of time before I get it again. I hope not, which is why I'm chucking hot lemon and tea down me, cough medicines and Christ knows what all, as a preventative measure. But it's one of them things, you'll know this, Rick, well, you all will, especially in the cold weather, it just doesn't want to let go. It just lingers in there for bloody weeks. I was quite lucky. I actually had mine for about a week and a half, possibly 2 weeks, and it just drove me mad. But I know people who've had it for months and they can't shake it. But yeah, I totally get that, mate. You're right about not listening to the critics. They slam any movie unless it's some sort of woke fest or a 4-hour period drama. I mean, I love Mark Kermo, but that is the kind of movie that he gravitates towards. He will always champion small budget independent movies over blockbusters. So yeah, I do completely get that. And as for the woke gang, don't even get me started on that. The latest bout of stupidity that I read about this week is black pudding. Yes, they want the name changing. They want it changing to dark pudding. I've got 3 words for you people. Fuck right off. We are bored of you. We are fed up of you. I've never yet met one of these people. I don't know where they come from. It's like when you're talking about Carry On films. I've never ever in my life met anybody that has said to me, "Don't talk to me about Carry On films. I find them really offensive." And no, not once, not once. And I'm fairly sure that in mixed company, would they really want to be seen as basically as stupid as they are? I am so sick to death of these people, and it's every week you get something come up, and it's like, oh, actually, we're offended by this now. Do you know what? I'm offended by the fact that you're fucking offended by everything we say. So, don't get me started on this. Not today. I'll save this one for another time. But that's the latest one. Is black pudding. I'm hoping it's fake news, but it is just stupid and pathetic enough to be absolutely genuine. But let's see, shall we? So, black pudding, be prepared, we've got to call it dark pudding. Why don't we just ban the word black? Full stop. That'd be a good idea, wouldn't it? Would you like that? Would you like us just not to say the word black, even if it's a colour? I think that'd be. I think that'd be amazing. That's the way round it. I think we'll just ban the word black, and then you've got nothing else to moan about. But you will, won't you? Because you'll find something else, won't you? Because that's what you fucking people do. 4, 3, 2, 1. Calm. On the subject of remakes, Stallone is remaking Cliffhanger. Why? There was nothing wrong with the original. I went to see Cliffhanger at Burton Odeon when it first came out. It would have been early 90s, for I guess, early 90s or early 2000s. Really, really enjoyed it. I went with a mate who I didn't realise, well, he neglected to mention that he suffered from vertigo. And those opening scenes, those overhead shots, are a bit alarming. They are, when you suddenly realise how high these things are. And he actually felt nauseous and had to leave. Had to disappear for 10 minutes and come back. And that's when he said, "I'm sorry, mate. I've suffered from vertigo for years." And it's like, you might have mentioned it before we came in. But I thought it was okay. But, I mean, hats off to Stallone. If he thinks he can make it even better, I mean, more power to you. Go for it. But I don't think there was anything wrong with the original. Great video as always, mate. Hope your cough clears up soon. It did, but I get the feeling I'm in for a second bout of it. But let's see, shall we? Brilliant to hear from you, Rick. Great to have you back, mate. Callum, morning, Cal. Hi, Tony. Thanks for reading my top 10 out. Appreciate it. You're more than welcome. I used to love reading those top 10s out. I've got another one for you. Your top 10 worst films. Jot me down top 10 movies that you probably saw the poster art for and thought, that looks amazing. Then you saw the trailer for it and thought, that looks awesome. And then when you actually saw the film, it was a crushing disappointment. 10 of those. I'd be very curious to know what your 10 are of those. The reason the whole Star Wars trilogy isn't in the top 10 and only The Empire Strikes Back is because I really don't like A New Hope. I think it's overrated. Really? Is that a fact? I know that it's an unpopular opinion, but I will always stand by that. Ha ha. I do really like The Return of the Jedi, though. You are absolved. I've got a soft spot for Star Wars, and I have. Guy loves it. Jason hates it. Not sure what Mark's stance is on Star Wars. I'm not sure. I remember seeing it at Burton Odeon when it first came out. I'd have been 15. I do remember going to see it the first week it was released, and the queues were round the back of the Odeon and right down High Street. And I thought, no, absolutely not. Came back 2 weeks later and basically had the screen all to myself. Went straight after school. And I remember coming out of that screening thinking, that was amazing. Can't wait to see that again. And it was also one of the first films that I owned on Super 8mm. Now, I don't think you'll be familiar with Super 8mm, but you might be. Before we had streaming and Blu-ray and DVD, and VHS, we had Super 8 millimeter, which were basically films on spools that were put through a projector and onto a screen. I had a projector, was it a sound projector or a silent one? I think it was a silent one. And I used to project films onto a bed sheet in the bedroom, believe it or not. And back then, movies were available in black and white silent, black and white sound, colour silent, and colour sound, and they were on 200 foot and 400 foot reels. And basically, what you got was the highlights of a film crushed into a sort of 17, 18 minutes. Now, I didn't want the black and white, whether it were sound or silent. I wanted the colour, but I couldn't afford the colour sound because that was really, really expensive. Plus, my projector wouldn't do sound, it was only silent. So I had to get colour silent. And it was just my most precious possession at the time. I think it cost something like £20, which back in 1977 was a lot of money for a movie that didn't have sound. But yes, that was one of my first ever Super 8mm movies, and I loved it. I absolutely adored that film. So those are my memories of Star Wars. So let's see. Enjoyed the video. Thanks, Cal. Much appreciated. Loved your review of We Live in Time, by the way. Keep them coming. I absolutely love reading other people's sort of views on certain films, but really enjoyed that. So yeah, keep the reviews coming, and I look forward to getting your top 10 worst films ever list. So thanks for that, Cal. Much appreciated, mate. Always good to hear from you. David, morning, David. What are your favourite Christopher Walken films? Do you know what? Until I looked on the IMDb, I had no idea how many movies this guy has actually done. He's got an incredible body of work behind him. Some of my favourites I've got written down here. The Sentinel, a really bizarre horror movie from 1977. Can't remember much about it. I do remember it being weird as hell though. The Deer Hunter, he was absolutely superb in The Deer Hunter with Robert De Niro. Who was the other guy that was in it? I've gone blank. Can't remember. But The Deer Hunter, he was superb in that. Heaven's Gate, he was good in that. The Dogs of War, that was a late 70s one. Brainstorm was a cracking movie. It had echoes of Dreamscape. Remember that one with Dennis Quaid? That was really, really good. And that was a cracking movie, Brainstorm. The Dead Zone, that was a Stephen King adaptation. He was good in that. View to a Kill, where he played Max Zorin, the Bond film. At Close Range, I think that was Sean Penn. That was a good movie. King of New York. This is one that I want to see, but I've not seen yet. But I get the feeling from the trailer that I'm going to enjoy it. It's a typical Christopher Walken performance. Batman Returns, he was excellent in that. True Romance, he was excellent in that. If you asked me to name my favourite one, aside from A View to a Kill, I would say a movie called Communion. It was based on a book by a guy named Whitley Strieber. And it was all to do with alien abductions, way before alien abductions became the thing, and everybody was doing it. There was Communion, and it was a cracking movie, a bit weird, but no less than you'd expect from Christopher Walken. But I really, really enjoyed that one. I watched it recently on Prime, and it's not lessened its impact at all. I thought it was superb. Alien abduction creeps me out anyway. But that one was a particularly good one, and it was one of the first examples of it as well. Shortly to be followed by movies like Fire in the Sky, which was just horrible, and Dark Skies, which is one of the most unsettling, disturbing movies I think I've ever seen. And everybody that I've ever mentioned that to has watched the movie and said, "We're watching the same film, that wasn't frightening." It was to me. It's just a subject that really scares the hell out of me. But Christopher Walken, as I say, he's done so much. He's done TV work. He even did a video with Madonna. Can't remember which one it was. Was it Bad Girls? But yeah, he's had quite the career. So yeah, keep the questions coming, Christopher, Mr. Walken. Keep the questions coming, David. Loving them. Let's see, Caroline. Morning, Caroline. It's so good to hear from you. I ain't heard from you for ages. I think you will love 7 Up. It's a brilliant piece of TV. Michael Apted, who directed all but the first series, died a few years ago, so not sure if there will be any more. I won't chuck in any spoilers, but I have loved watching this series over the years. I can't wait to get into this. I've only ever seen, I think, the first episode, and I think it was on Talking Pictures TV or something like that. And I meant at the time to tackle the rest of it just to see how these kids have changed over the years, sort of thing, up to adulthood. But never got round to it. Then I spotted that DVD on Amazon and thought, you know what? I think it cost me about £6 or something like that. I thought, we'll have that. And I've got two more to get, which are the last two instalments, which I'll be picking up at some point soon. But what I saw, it was a cracking series. And I can't wait to get into it again. I don't think Betty Davis did a bad film. She was brilliant in everything, wasn't she? Just she played Hollywood at their own game. She absolutely was not being taken in by them at all. She was just amazing. She was a powerful lady, and nobody fucked with her. I mean, absolutely not. And as I said, the three films I mentioned last week, Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, Now Voyager, and the Haunted House movie with Oliver Reed, Burnt Offerings, were three of my favourites, but she did so many. She was in the 1978 adaptation of Death on the Nile. She was superb in that. Watcher in the Woods, which was a scary Disney film, when Disney films weren't scary, usually. The Anniversary, that's the one that she played with the eye patch. The Nanny, I've seen that so many times, absolutely love it. That's a Hammer film. The Little Foxes, that was one of her early ones, sort of basically a reply to sort of Gone with the Wind, that kind of thing, set in that kind of time. Jezebel, that was another similar one. Dark Victory. She's another one that did, when you look at her filmography, you just scroll up and you think, Christ, how many did she do? She did a phenomenal amount, absolutely. If you were to try and collect all of Betty Davis's movies, you'd have one hell of a shelf, you really would. But yeah, she was absolutely brilliant in everything she did, as you said. So thanks for that, Caroline, much appreciated. Always good to hear from you. Stuart, morning Stu. I scratch my head with most Nolan films, you and me both. Oppenheimer is directed perfectly with great performances, but the subject matter I wasn't involved in at all, so I didn't like it. Meh. Just meh. Oppenheimer. It was good. I enjoyed it. I watched it all in one go. I think it's about 3.5 hours long. I thought it was excellent, but would I watch it again? I don't think so. Probably not. It's one of those movies that I've now seen. It, I mean, obviously, Cillian Murphy was superb in it. The star of it for me was Matt Damon. I thought it was amazing as the grizzled old army general. But I'm not sure I would watch it again. It's a long-ass film. And I'm not sure I'd have the patience to get through it again. But really, really well done, as you say. Beautifully photographed, beautifully acted, brilliantly done. Just not for me a second time, I don't think. I'm still waiting for your rant video on James Corden versus Sam Smith. Oh God, I've said more than enough about James Corden and Sam Smith. Pair of fat, talentless fucks, basically. Somebody said to me the other week, just seen this series on Netflix, really, really enjoyed it. You've got to watch it. What is it? Fat Friends. Okay, I'll look it up. Went home, looked it up a couple of days later, and there's James Corden's beaming fat face glaring out at me as one of the stars, and it's like, no, absolutely not. I will not watch anything that James Corden is in. I think he's just, like I say, a fat, talentless, smug prick. I will not watch Gavin and Stacey, mainly because he's in it. The way he treated Patrick Stewart at that awards ceremony, was at the Golden Globes, was absolutely appalling. He just wanted punching for that, basically. But Patrick Stewart came out of that with infinitely more grace and style than Corden did. I have no time for the man, none whatsoever. And as for Sam Smith, as I've said before, we're used to hearing Bond themes. I love Bond themes, absolutely love them. And to be honest, he wrecked his opportunity to do a Bond theme. It was terrible. I think it was Spectre. And as I've said before, we're used to hearing Bond themes being belted out by the likes of Shirley Bassey, Tom Jones, Paul McCartney, Nancy Sinatra, Matt Monro, Lulu. And then you've got Sam Smith with his little squeaky mouse voice. Oh, fuck off. He just irritates me. And his views on gender fluidity, whatever you want to call it, just drive me mad. Absolutely do. So I've not really got much else to say on James Corden or Sam Smith unless somebody sends me something that infuriates me so much that I will feel the need to read it out on one of these. I just don't like either of them. I really don't. I can't stand the sight of them. Draw a line under it. Unless somebody else brings it up with something else. Just watch Casualties of War. In my opinion, it's so underrated. A great war film directed by Brian De Palma. Do you like Brian De Palma movies? Of course I do. I love De Palma movies. Carrie and Dress to Kill are two of my favourites. I even enjoyed Body Double, which came in for a real slamming from the critics. They didn't like it at all, but I thought it was good. I love Brian De Palma films. Casualties of War is probably one of the nastiest, most brutal war films I think I've ever seen, and that scene where they murder the Vietnamese girl that they've basically been violent towards and abusing for days is just horrifying. Sean Penn and Michael J. Fox, absolutely at the top of their game. They make you believe the characters that they're playing. It is just superb. It is also really, really unpleasant. It's a strong, powerful film, and I would love to see it again, but I've got to be in the right mood for it. You don't want to be watching Casualties of War if you're on any kind of a downer, because you'll want to go and jump off a bridge. But it's a really, really good film. And as for De Palma movies, loved them. Scarface, that was another good one. Yes, I do like De Palma movies quite a bit. So thanks for that, Stuart. Much appreciated, mate. Always good to hear from you. Roy. Morning, Roy. Hi, Tony. I know you enjoy your compliments, so wonderful video again, pal. Sounds like I'm fishing for them now, and I'm not. But I don't mind hearing them. Thanks for showing that magazine. I will have to take a trip to WH Smith. Not sure whether Smith stock it. I actually subscribe to it via a Facebook ad. If I think on, at some point, I will send you a link to the Cinema Retro website. But it's a brilliant magazine. If you love retro movies, which I know you do, you will get a real kick out of that magazine. It's just superb. Seven Samurai is incredible. I really hope you enjoy it. A Fistful of Dollars, a movie you mentioned earlier, is also a remake of the Kurosawa film Yojimbo, which is another one I think that I need to take in again then. Or for the first time, I should say, because I've not seen Yojimbo or Seven Samurai. I presume Yojimbo is another long film, but I will be looking that one up for sure. You were certainly spoilt at Christmas, mate. I was, absolutely. I got everything I could possibly have wanted. That Billy Wilder stack is amazing, mate. I own and love all of those. Another couple that are still in print, which I'd recommend you could add, are 123, a comedy set in Germany during the Cold War, and The Lost Weekend, about a guy struggling with alcohol addiction. The latter is extremely grim, light years ahead of its time, and won 4 Oscars, including Best Picture, Actor and Director. Now, I've not heard of 123, but I feel sure I've heard of The Lost Weekend. Is this Ray Milland, by any chance? If it is, I've either seen it or I've not. What's the point of that statement? This is how it's been all morning. I don't think I've seen The Lost Weekend, but I have heard a lot about it, so that's one that I will definitely be checking out. Have a great week, mate, and don't let a bit of coughing stop the show. It was more than a bit of coughing. The week before, it was terrible. I couldn't literally speak for more than about a minute or two without breaking out into a horrible coughing fit. There was no way I could have done a video. It was bad enough the week after when I kept breaking out into it every 5-10 minutes. But that week before, there was no way I could have done it. Absolutely not. But hopefully now, if I keep chucking these things down my neck, I'll be all right. So thanks for that, mate. Much appreciated. Always good to hear from you. Steve Mack, our Criterion guy. More Billy Wilder must-haves. Some like it hot. Got it in a box set, a Marilyn Monroe box set, which also features, I think, Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, There's no business like show business, and I think the 7 Year Itch. So I'm good. I'm good on Some Like It Hot, and I love that movie anyway. Seen it 5 or 6 times. Absolutely adore it. The Fortune Cookie. I'm not familiar with that one at all. I need to look that one up. The front page. Walter Matthau, around about 1974-ish. Heard of that one. Avanti. I confused this with a movie called Ashanti, which was Michael Caine, which was a terrible film. I've never seen Avanti, so I will be looking that one up. The Spirit of St. Louis. This is the story of Charles Lindbergh, the man who made the first flight across the Atlantic, am I right? Jimmy Stewart, that's one I want to see. And Witness for the Prosecution. Not heard of that one, but I will definitely be looking that and all those other ones up and seeing if I can get hold of them. Betty Davis, All About Eve. What a classic. What an absolute stone cold black and white classic. Fasten your seatbelts, it's going to be a bumpy night. I love that film. Hush, Hush, Sweet Charlotte. Fairly sure I taped, that's showing me age. Sky Plus this on Talking Pictures TV. I'm fairly sure I've got this one. If not, I'll be taking a look at it at some point soon. Isn't this a similar movie to Whatever Happened to Baby Jane? I get the feeling it probably had. So thanks for that, Steve. I'll be looking up all of those Billy Wilder movies. There's a lot of love for Billy Wilder this week. There really is. So thanks for that, mate. Much appreciated. Jason KR, Ginger Ninja. Morning, Jay. First of all, a huge thank you for sharing my channel on yours. I really, really appreciate that. I've already gained another 3 subscribers. I'm up to 169. So much appreciated, mate. That was a lovely thing to do. And I saw that yesterday and thought, what a lovely, sweet thing to do. Thank you very much, mate. Cracking vid, Tony. Thanks. It's funny you mention Aliens because I just saw it at the cinema last night. It was fantastic to watch it on the big screen. Would have been even better if it wasn't for the 2 people behind me talking for nearly the entire movie. Isn't it infuriating? Do you not just want to turn round and say, will you just shut the fuck up? Trying to watch the film. This is why I won't go to the cinema anymore. And I know it doesn't happen every time. But I had a pretty extreme example. That particular night, I can't remember what it was I went to see. Was it Deep Blue Sea or something like that? And it was just people talking all the way through it. There were mobiles lighting up like sodding Christmas trees all around me. And I think I got about 3/4 of the way through the film and thought, I can't do this anymore. And I got up and walked out. And that was the last time I went inside a cinema. I'm not saying it won't happen again. I will almost certainly be tempted back to the cinema at some point, hopefully this year with a bit of luck. And I'll give it another go. But it kind of put me off. And I do like sitting down in front of my big screen TV with a good film, knowing that I can just, nip to the loo or go and get something to eat and just pause it. You can't do that when you watch the cinema, but I do get your point, mate, and it is absolutely infuriating. I also just watched The Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, and, well, wait for my 60-second review to see what I thought. I can't wait to see what you think of that one. I need to take in the previous trilogy, Dawn, Rise and War for the Planet of the Apes before I take on Kingdom, because I can barely remember what happened in those. I've not seen them for quite a while. Busy day at work, so not a lot to add, but great vid as always. Thanks, Jay, much appreciated, mate. Oh, one question I did have, which I have been seeing a lot of on YouTube. What are your thoughts on the fully AI generated content that seems to be becoming more prevalent? Or is it just me that's finding this? The only ones I've seen, Jay, are these outrageous auditions for Britain's Got Talent, where people stand there and turn into animals and stuff like that. Now, obviously, that's AI generated. But if you send me a link to the ones that you're talking about, I'll take a look and see what I think of them. Or post a couple on the group. I'm sure some of them must be movie related. Just make sure you warn me that they are AI generated, because I'm a sucker for that kind of thing, as you know. I'll believe anything that people put in front of me. So, yeah, just let me know that they are AI generated before you actually post them. But thanks for that, Jay. Much appreciated, mate. Always absolutely amazing to hear from you. Right, I've got Sam's comment next. I'm going to come back in just a second because I'm coming up to 29 minutes, which means this is going to switch off at some point. So I'll be back in a minute. And we're back. Right, before I go any further, do you remember when I used to do the top tens years ago? I used to pick a movie from everybody's top 10, one that I'd not seen, and take a look at it. I think we established yesterday that I've not actually done many of those. But as you all know, I read Callum's list out last week, and I did pick one that I wanted to take a look at. Prisoners, I believe, is streaming on Netflix at the moment, so I'll probably take a look at that one at some point. But the one that I've picked, that I've actually got a Blu-ray copy of, is this one, Interstellar. Now, this is a Christopher Nolan film, so I'm fairly sure this is absolutely going to mash my head. But I'm hoping it's going to be the exception to the rule, and it's going to be fairly straightforward. But from what I saw of the trailer, which I watched yesterday, it's got a very 2001 A Space Odyssey sort of feel to it. So I wouldn't be too surprised to find that the ending is completely beyond me. But we shall see. It's a 3-hour film, so I'm going to set aside a morning when I'm off, not next week but the week after, to sit and watch this, because from what I saw in the trailer, it looks like something I would really, really enjoy. I think at some point I'd confused this film because when I looked it up on Google, I entered Brad Pitt's name, and he did one called Ad Astra, which I've not seen either, but I think I got that one confused with this one. So I will be taking a look at this at some point, so I'll let you know what I think of that, Callum, when I've actually watched it, because that is your absolute all-time favourite, as I remember from your list. So yeah, leave that with me. I shall take a look at that and let you know what I think. Back to the comments. Sam, great video as overtone. 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's start again, shall we? Sam, morning tone, great video as ever. Thanks, Sam, much appreciated. Thanks so much for the kind words about my channel and content. I can't believe it's coming up to a year since I started out on YouTube. Been brilliant, mate. My ultimate highlight of 2024, and I cannot wait to deliver more content going forward. And finally going to get a new iPhone with a bigger storage at long last. See, I do it on this really clunky old phone, and once I've done 30 minutes, I have to take it off the hard drive on the phone and put it onto the computer, otherwise it will just turn off. So I get it. If you're doing all of your videos on an iPhone and doing the editing on there as well and all that, it is going to take up some space. So I get the fact that you need a new phone with that, definitely, because I couldn't do it. Keep up the awesome work as well, Tone. Do you plan on doing any more reviews on the channel or anything similar in the pipeline? I've got no actual plans, to be honest, as far as this year goes, Sam, apart from maybe tidying the videos up a bit. Now that I've got a new computer system, which I'm in the process of unpacking and setting up and this, that and the other, somebody mentioned to me last week, Dave, who did all the graphics for the channel and the website and all that, he would love to see me edit a video on DaVinci Resolve. He says, because you can do all sorts of things with that. And don't get me wrong, I'm not going to be having pictures tumbling about all over the place and funny sound effects and this, that and the other. It's not going to be nothing like that. But it would be handy to put the poster of a movie to the side here, especially if it's one that nobody's heard of, just so you get a rough idea of what it is I'm talking about. But apparently there's all sorts of other things you can do. But that's the only plans I've got as far as the videos go. As for video reviews, I'd love to incorporate them with this, but I need to take a look at what the last standalone review did, viewer-wise. I did them probably about 2-3 months ago, just to see what they've done. But I've got no actual plans. So any suggestions that you guys have got that you would like to see me do this year, I will be tidying the watch list up again, and I will be doing something with that, which I think I've already explained on the Facebook page. There's all sorts of things going on with that, but we shall see. But no actual plans as yet, Sam, with that one. So leave that with me. I was kindly given the Blu-ray of the remake of 3:10 to Yuma very recently. Meant to be a solid remake, but the original is really good. I do need to take a look at the original, or both of them actually. I've got the remake on Blu-ray, which I believe is one of Mark's favourites. I'd be curious to know, Mark, have you seen the original version? Would you watch the original version? Because we're talking 1950s or 60s, I believe. Um, but yeah, I do need to take a look at both of those. I watched the original Django a few nights ago, Tone, and what an amazing western indeed, mate. Franco Nero, absolutely badass in the lead role. Great score too. One of my favourite westerns now. I've never seen Django. I know it was banned for quite a few years. I assume. God, this stammer's coming back. It's because it's bloody cold in here. That's what it is. Um, I assume it was banned because of the excessive violence, but it was on the ban list for quite a while, if I remember right. But I do need to take that one in. That's one that I actually wouldn't mind seeing. I've seen Django Unchained, which is the Tarantino one, which was superb, and I think that's one of Callum's favourites as well. Um, but yes, I do need to take in the original with Franco Nero. Speaking of Clint Eastwood, I watched Outlaw Josie Wales and thought it was good, mate. I've ordered a few of Clint's films on VHS. I watched Tightrope last night on VHS, and that was fantastic. A rather underrated film, great thriller, and Clint plays an awesome detective cop. Hoping to finally watch Unforgiven this weekend, which I've heard amazing things about. What's your thoughts, bud? Tightrope is superb. It's one of those forgotten Eastwood films, and I don't know why. I've not seen it for many, many years, but I remember it being quite a raw film for an Eastwood film. But I wouldn't mind taking another look at that. Unforgiven, I've not seen yet. I know Gene Hackman's in it with him. I know it won Oscars, but I've not seen it, so that's one that's got to go on the watch list. Outlaw Josie Wales was brilliant. Slow burner, but really, really good. Great to see you delve more into Billy Wilder's work, Tone. Billy Wilder's getting some love this week. A couple of those films I've not heard of. I heard superb things about Double Indemnity. Must grab that in the next Criterion sale. I can't wait to watch that one. Really enjoyed Some Like It Hot. Had a great time with it. Brilliant chemistry and awesome story. Just a superb film. Absolutely brilliant. Um, March is looking like a superb month for physical media. Hoping to pre-order both Scanners and The Brood on Second Sight. Both great Cronenberg movies, Tony, and my goodness, that artwork is beautiful in it. I took one look at it and thought, you've just made a massive promise on the group that you're not going to buy too many box sets, and there's two straight off the bat in March coming out together. But both brilliant films again. Scanners and The Brood, saw them both at Burton Odeon. Absolutely loved them. The Brood was nasty, nasty as hell. Scanners was just brilliant. Great action film. We didn't see the exploding head coming, believe it or not. We didn't see that. But yeah, and I dare say the prints on 4K are going to be absolutely awesome. So yes, I personally can't wait for those. I just ordered the 4K set of Cruising with Al Pacino. Do you have any favourite William Friedkin films, bud? Cruising is one. Absolutely love it. I would say The Boys in the Band. The French Connection is superb. The Exorcist, obviously. Sorcerer. Now that's a forgotten movie if ever I saw one. A remake of a French film called The Wages of Fear. I've not seen it. I've seen the trailer to it. I've got a Blu-ray copy of it upstairs. Um, the problem with Sorcerer was it was released the same week in cinemas as Star Wars. It didn't stand a chance, and that's why it disappeared into obscurity for years and was resurrected many years later with a beautiful Blu-ray print. I can't wait to watch it. Really looking forward to it. But that's apparently one of his best films. Cruising, as I've mentioned, is excellent. To Live and Die in LA, that was a good one. He's done so many, but yeah, I would definitely say they were my favourites. Absolutely. Not heard of the film The Misfits, mate. Have to add it to my watch list. I've not seen it. I bought it, and I don't know why I bought it at the time. I think it was just that mad moment that I had when I was just buying all sorts of stuff a couple of weeks ago. But I will take a look at it definitely. Clark Gable is always good in anything he does. I need to double check what Bond movies I've seen in total and not seen. Going to be such a fun marathon for sure. You're going to love that. I can't wait to hear what you think of the earlier ones. I love the Connery years. I enjoy the Moore years. There's not a bad Bond film. If I had to pick a bad one, it would probably be Quantum of Solace. For some reason, I didn't get on with it, and I don't know why. But favourite, as everybody knows, is On Her Majesty's Secret Service. I absolutely love that one. I hope to pre-order season 7 with John Pertwee soon. One of my favourite Doctors. This is Doctor Who we're talking about. I can't wait to watch it just to see what they've done with the quality of these old stories. So I will be taking a look at that, absolutely. And if I like what I see, I'm going to start ordering the rest of them as well. Really love Seven Samurai on rewatch. Great movie, mate. Kurosawa is becoming one of my favourite directors. I do need to watch that one. But again, I need to set aside either a full evening or a morning because it's 3 hours plus. But I've wanted to see it for years, which is why I was so pleased that I got that one for Christmas. Have a great weekend, Tony. Keep up the amazing work as always and bring on next Saturday. Thanks, Sam. Much appreciated, mate. Keep the questions coming. Guy, morning, Guy. Glad to have you back, mate. It's good to be back, mate. It really is. January can suck my balls. It can suck mine and all. I bloody hate it. Absolutely shite month. Same with February. I don't do the cold, as I said earlier, the way that I used to. I used to love the cold months. They never used to bother me. I think it's an age thing. I just don't enjoy the cold anymore, and I really, really don't. Tony, you need to give Peter Capaldi's version of the Doctor a chance. I think you'd enjoy his version of the character, grumpy and acerbic. On that subject, you need to get back on your Doctor Who journey. Me and Chris love it, and I think Sam would too. Yes, I do. I'm going to get back onto it absolutely from next week, and I'm going back to this one. I only got the first episode of this watched and never carried on with it, and I don't know why. I should have carried on with it. I'd be well into the Troughton years by now. But I'm going to start with this one, finish this story off. I'm going to have to watch the first episode all over again because I can't remember much of what happened in it, to be fair. But this is one of the first non-animated Troughton stories that I've got, so I'm definitely going to be going back to the Doctor Who journey that I started, and I will also take a look at a couple of the Peter Capaldi adventures just to see what I think, to get an idea of where he's at with that. Peter Capaldi is pretty much always good. I remember in local, and we're back, and that, my dear friends, is what you get when you forget to delete the previous file from your phone before you start recording another section. The thing just turns off, which is why I stop every 30 minutes to transfer the file from the phone to the computer, and that is what you get. Where were we? I was talking about Guy. Well, I was reading Guy's comment. We were talking about this bad boy and the fact that I was going to be taking this on and going back on the Doctor Who journey that I started quite a few years ago, and basically try to plough my way through the Patrick Troughton years, which I have been looking forward to. And I was talking about Peter Capaldi and the fact that I was going to be taking on a couple of his adventures, a couple of standalone episodes. Remember him from Local Hero, the David Putnam film from years ago. But yes, I will be taking that on. I'm going to buy less and stream more. Ha ha ha. I did mean that. I honestly did. And what I bought this week is minimal compared to what I got last week. So I am kind of getting there with it, as you will see very shortly. Thanks for that, Guy. Much appreciated, mate. Sorry I got cut off halfway through your comments. It's basically been that way this week. This morning's recording has just been bloody horrible, and I think a lot of it is to do with the fact that I'm doing it on the laptop as opposed to the computer. The desk looks completely different from what it normally does, and I'm not a big fan of change, but I've had to do it this way until I get the new computer set up and working. But hopefully next week will be a completely different story, because I couldn't really go through this every week. It's doing me head in. Mark. Morning, Captain. Morning, Mark. Sorry I didn't comment last week. Even though it was only an hour, I ended up watching in 3 parts. Made no notes. By the time I got to the end of it, I'd forgotten what had been said. Nothing to do with being drunk at this time, I promise. Welcome to my world. I'm just terrible. My memory today has just been awful. It's been bloody awful. And it is generally so. I do kind of get that, and I do love The Prestige. I remember the first time I watched it, and it's finally revealed how Christian Bale is doing his trick, I was like, what? I need to take a look at this one. If I remember right, there were two movies at the same time, out at the same time, to do with magicians. Can't remember what the other one was, but I'm fairly sure one was The Prestige. But I do need to take it in. Absolutely. Saw Whiplash for the first time last year, also a great film. Uncomfortable viewing, really, really uncomfortable viewing, but really, really well done. Miles Teller and J.K. Simmons, just absolutely superb. Really, really worth watching. If you've not seen Whiplash and you just want a brilliant drama that will literally have you squirming in your seat within the first 20 minutes, Whiplash is the one to go for. I've never seen anything quite like that. Seen the first Matrix, shit and overrated. Didn't bother with any of the others. I don't blame you. I've only seen the first one. It mashed my head. I had no idea what it was or what the hell I was watching, and I came away from it just completely confused. But as I said last week, there's a whole generation out there of a certain age that if you ask them what their favourite film ever is, a lot of the time it's The Matrix. They absolutely loved it. But I can't say it did a lot for me, and I won't be bothering with any of the sequels, I don't think. Not seeing any of the Squid Games. My daughter is obsessed with it, but if the words don't match the mouth, I ain't watching it. Not a fan of dubbed films then. You'd have loved the old Bruce Lee ones, mate. They were the worst dubbing ever, the old martial arts films. I do kind of get that. I think dubbing is a lot better now than it used to be. But I'd still rather watch the subtitled version, if I'm being honest. I think Russell Crowe would make a great Defence in a Falling Down remake. Cracking suggestion. I'd not thought of him. Thought of him. If anybody could do a man pissed off with people and society in general, Russell Crowe can do it. Didn't he do a movie called Unhinged about 2 years ago, which was a similar kind of thing? Wasn't it a road rage thing? And they basically just crossed a complete psychopath, Russell Crowe. So yeah, that is a good suggestion. Any others out there to take on the role of Defence in Falling Down? I think Russell Crowe's a cracker. Black Phone. Again, my daughter loves it. I've seen it, was okay, nothing to write home about. I've got the Blu-ray and I've not watched it yet, but I get the feeling that when I watch it, I'm just going to think, meh, not bad. Not bad. But again, I don't think it's going to be anything spectacular. I really don't. But it's been raved about, so I'll take a look at it. I was going to watch Alien Romulus on the stick, but never got around to it. But it's on Disney Plus this Wednesday, so I'll watch it on there at some point. That is one I definitely want to take a look at now that I've got it on 4K. So when you've watched it, I'll take a look at it and we can compare notes on that one. Great video, same time next week. Absolutely, mate. Just hope it's better than it is this week. You're never seeing it for this week was The Railway Man. Good film, very much enjoyed it, but if I was going to compare it, I'd say Unbroken is far better, but this still gets a 7.5 out of 10. I really want to watch The Railway Man. I've heard it's brutal, it's nasty. Obviously, the treatment of POWs at the hands of the Japanese army was not good. The one that I do remember from many, many years ago, and I've got a Blu-ray and I need to take another look at it, is Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence, with Tom Conti and David Bowie. Absolutely brilliant film, but again, brutal. But I get the feeling that The Railway Man is going to take brutality to another level. So I'm glad you liked it, and I will definitely be taking a look at it, but I've got to be in the right mood for something like that because I pretty much know what's coming. So thanks for that, mate. Much appreciated. Always good to hear from you, Mark. Callie, morning, sweetheart. How are you? Oh, good old Tony time on a chilly Saturday. Thanks for that. Talking about going back and watching your first vid, when I look back at my first video, the only thing I can think of is how far I've come. Not just in terms of how I've not just in terms of how I've improved in making videos, but how far I've gotten in my journey. And it's one hell of a journey that you've been on, Callie. It really is. Mine, I watch it, and the first thing you think is, I really have come on a long way since doing that one. This was 3-4 years ago. I think the first one was about 3-4 minutes long, and it went so badly I couldn't see myself carrying on with it, and here I am 4 years later. Same with you. How long has your channel been going now? I'm really, really curious about that. And I thought Sam's had been going years, but apparently it's just been 1 year. So how long's yours been going? But yeah, the journey you've been on, everything is going to look completely different, same as mine. So, but not quite the same as mine, obviously. Doctor Who, softcore porn, why? Just why? I've no idea, because I've never watched it. I do need to take a look at it at some point, just to see what it is I've got. But looking at the back, I pretty much know what I've got hold of with that one, and I can't say it's overly impressive. We shall see when I finally get the chance to take a look. I agree with Jason, a Maximum Overdrive remake would be amazing. Can you imagine a movie about technology turning on us in 2024? Attack of the Killer iPhones. It's not as daft as it sounds. If you can get Killer Sofa and Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, Attack of the Killer iPhones is not beyond the bounds of possibility. But I'd love to see a remake of Maximum Overdrive. That was a cracking movie. But yeah, absolutely. I watched the Fog remake just once. It was meh, at best meh. We're going to get a lot of meh now, aren't we? I don't think I ever want to see it again. I don't know. Maybe if it comes on one of the horror channels and it's free to streaming, I might take a look at it. But I know for a fact I'm going to think this is as bad as I thought it was. Just a short comment from me this week, as I have 1,001 things to do today, including some bits for the channel, some work on my ongoing writing projects, and getting my first short story, 32 pages, ready for publishing. Please let me know when that is, because I would love a copy of that. I love reading other people's books, I just do, especially ones that they've written themselves. So yeah, please let me know when that happens, and I'd love to have a read of that. Another great episode, Hun. Catch you on the next one, and as always, thanks for the shout out. You're more than welcome. Then Callie came back a bit later on, jumping back on as I have a moment to myself and can actually comment a little more. Your retro film choices, yeah, there were maybe odd to you. The World is Full of Married Men. Never even heard of that one, Hun. Unless you were around in the late 70s when movies like The Stud and The Bitch were basically smashing box office records in Britain, you wouldn't have heard of The World is Full of Married Men. It is just another Jackie Collins movie adaptation full of sex and disco, and that's pretty much all it was. But I loved it. I absolutely adored it. The Jazz Singer. I've heard of this one but never seen it. They remade The Jazz Singer. I think you'll know this, with Neil Diamond in 1980. I went to see that and absolutely loved it. The soundtrack is superb. I think all of the songs were written especially for the soundtrack of it, and the story does follow roughly the same story as the 1927 original. I've only seen the original once and absolutely adored it, and I've got the soundtrack on Spotify, which I do listen to. So yeah, but I would love to see the Neil Diamond version again. It's been a while since I've watched that, but it did follow roughly the same story. Never Too Young to Rock. There's another one I've not heard of. You would definitely not have heard of this. It was made at the height of glam rock, 74, 75-ish. The soundtrack was incredible. The film itself was absolute total pants. But I loved it. I absolutely loved it. It's from my era. I just thought it was great. But I do watch it, and whenever I watch it, it's like, oh my God, this is bad. This is really terrible. But I'm loving it. Absolutely loving it. The China Syndrome. Another one for Callie's never seen. Definitely highly recommended. 3 acting powerhouses: Jane Fonda, Michael Douglas, and Jack Lemmon, who are all brilliant. So yeah, I would highly recommend that one. And Barbarella. Now that's one I know and love. How can you not love Barbarella? 60s, trippy, bright, colourful, camp, just funny as hell. Really, really good movie. The visuals in style were very similar to the 1980 version of Flash Gordon, because I think it was Dino De Laurentiis again, and he had a very sort of odd vision of what he thought space was like, obviously. But I thought it was great. I love Barbarella. Seen it countless times and will watch it countless more times. Love that calendar. It's up in the bedroom, that one, now, because I've got calendars everywhere at the moment. Oh my God, Eddie Kidd. I remember him. So sad what happened to him, though. one of the most famous stunt riders next to Evel Knievel that ever lived or lives. Um, I looked him up on Google, and I see what you mean. I didn't know any of that. He had an accident, obviously. They all seemed to come to grief in the end, and he ended up paralysed and virtually brain dead. But I think he's a little bit better now. But it was tragic what happened to him. But I'm looking forward to seeing that movie, Riding High. There's a couple more he was in as well, that I read on Wikipedia, but I've not heard of any of them. So yes, it was tragic what happened to him. I remember watching 21 and Up, but I can't remember where or when. It might have been back in school, possibly a history lesson. It's the kind of thing that they would show in schools, definitely. It's like a window to the past. I can't wait to get started on that series. Time to get back to work. Just had to drop a comment on the bits I missed earlier. Much appreciated, Callie. Always brilliant to hear from you. Jason P. Morning, Jay. Great vid as always. Cheers, mate. Firstly, get those cough medicines and throw them in the bin. Not a fan. They are a gimmick and make you worse. I used to have them a few years ago and my cough lasted 2 weeks or more. Now I just have water and hot drinks and my cough went within a few days. Waste of money, all that cough medicine bollocks. I do agree with that. That's why I'm still chucking lemon tea and honey down my neck, because that seems to work better than any cough medicine. My top 10 or even my top 30 wouldn't have changed. Yeah, because I was asking everybody to do maybe an amended top 10, but if they've not changed, it's obviously not worth it. So I don't know whether mine would or not. The top 5 definitely wouldn't have done, and you pretty much all know what they are. Watch Die Hard 3 for definite. Is that the one with Jeremy Irons in? 4 and 5 just get worse with each watch. We watched all 5 last month, and I said I don't think I'll bother watching 4 and 5 again for at least 10 years. No point to them. I won't be bothering with those then. I mean, I certainly won't be buying a box set, because the only ones I will ever end up watching more than once is probably 1 and 2, which I do enjoy. Looks like you've slowed down on the buy-in, you sarcastic sod. That was an extreme example. That was a bad week for it. It's nowhere near that bad this week, as you're about to see. Until next week, Tone, have a good one. Cheers, Jay. You're never seen it for this week. I couldn't have been happier to see this one. Midnight Cowboy from 1969. A naive hustler travels from Texas to New York City to seek personal fortune, finding a new friend in the process. Jon Voight and Dustin Hoffman in the most incredible partnership on film. It was just superb. I love Midnight Cowboy. It was one of the first mainstream films to get an X certificate, and it was the first, let me get this right, it was the first X certificate movie to win the Best Picture Oscar. I think I've got that right. But aside from all that, the soundtrack, the movie, Hoffman and Voight, just superb. You put, well, this wasn't what I expected. I thought it would be a Western. Do you know what? When I first read about that coming to Burton Odeon, I've only been about 7 or 8 at the time. I remember seeing the advert in the Burton Mail for it, and I thought it was a Western. I really did, and I thought it was a Western for years. Turned out it wasn't, and was pretty good actually. I'd watch this again. You have no idea how happy that made me when I read that. I had a horrible feeling you were going to say, "What was all the fuss about?" You, that's how you are. But you didn't, and I was so pleased. I'm really pleased you enjoy it. Chris, you said not seen this one myself. I'll put it on the list. Please do, because I think you will enjoy it immensely. So let me see, have I got anything else to go on to here? That is pretty much it, apart from showing off a few bits that I've bought, and then I can draw this whole sorry episode finally to a close. I can go and get warm. Actually, it's nearly time to put the dinner on. I'll show you a few bits that I've bought first off before I go. Latest issue of Empire. I've actually subscribed to this online, so my next issue should be coming through, I think, February. So looking forward to that. The latest issue of Film Stories, which has got William Tell on the front. Now, I thought that was Kevin Costner, but I don't think it is. But you've got all sorts in here, celebrating Roger Moore, welcoming back the VHS tape. Looking forward to reading that, and saluting Nicolas Cage. Looking forward to reading that, and some Blu-rays here. I Do Listen to You, Coming to America. I looked at how much it was to stream. To rent, I think it was about $3.50. To buy was, I think, $5.99. So I thought, you know what, I'll have a proper Blu-ray copy of it, and that's exactly what I've got. So I can't wait to take a look at that and tell you what I think. Somebody mentioned Jason Statham to me, so I've grabbed this one as a starting point. I watched the trailer to one that Mark posted yesterday. Can't remember what it was called. Is it A Working Man? Looked amazing. So maybe this is the way to go down a Jason Statham rabbit hole. I don't know, but we'll start with this one. I'm basing this on a clip that I saw on Facebook and thought that looks really good. See what you think. Last one. Oh no, I've got a couple more. The Grand Budapest Hotel. This is one that Sam was talking about the other night. It's one of his favourite movies. Spotted this for about £1.50, so I thought, oh great, I'll have it. Even if I don't like it, I can just give it away. Wes Anderson. I don't think I've ever seen a Wes Anderson movie, but this is apparently a good starting point. Now then, 4K of Return of the Jedi. Yes, I know that I've already got the Star Wars trilogy, or the original Star Wars trilogy on Blu-ray, but I bought the first two on 4K a few months ago, A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. I had to complete the set, so I've grabbed this one, and I shall let you know what I think of the transfer on that one when I've watched it. And finally, Roy. Was it Roy? That Michael Reeves box set that you were showing off. I couldn't resist it. I've got Witchfinder General. I've got The Sorcerers. I'm not overly bothered about Castle of the Living Dead. What I am bothered about is the 90-minute documentary on the life of Michael Reeves, the director. I couldn't find it anywhere as a standalone disc, and I found this on a company called Screenbound for $11.99. So I thought, do you know what? For 12 quid, I'll have that. So I'm looking forward to watching that. There's loads of extras on this that I need to take in, but mostly it's going to be that documentary on the life of Michael Reeves. Oh, I'm so glad that's over. That has been, I wouldn't say it's been a chore, but it's not been easy today, and I'm fairly sure it's because this room is so fucking freezing. Hopefully things will be warming up a bit next week, so it will be basically a lot easier next week. I'm hoping so anyway. I don't function well in the cold, and this has been an exercise in proving that. So thanks ever so much for bearing with me. I'll be back again hopefully the same time next week. If you've enjoyed the video, just like, share, subscribe, all that sort of thing. That is all I've got for you. Oh, apart from these, I forgot these. Mark, you'll be interested in these. I've moved these down by the telly to add to my January watch list. We were talking about this the other day. Tremors. Never seen it. Kevin Bacon is in it, so it's going to be good. But I've never seen it, but I know this is one of your favourites. And also, at the same time, I grabbed that one, Tremors 2. You said to watch Tremors 1 and 2, but don't bother with the other sequels because they're all meh. Of course they're meh. Why wouldn't they be? So they're coming down by the telly to be watched hopefully sometime in January, which we are nearly now halfway through. Isn't it frightening how quick it's all going? So right, have a brilliant week, folks. Fingers crossed it will warm up a little bit and we'll all feel a little more comfortable. I'm sick to death of feeling freezing cold all the time. So have a brilliant week, folks, and I'll be back again the same time next week. Take care, and I will talk to you all again soon. Ta-da.